Once again, and welcome aboard the Jeanie Johnston. So again, my name is Rob, I'll be your guide. And now this ship is a replica. It's not the original ship. The original sank, so that's why we don't have that. But it is the exact same size and dimensions as the original ship, with a few obvious modern upgrades. Now this particular ship was built in 2002. Cost about 13 million euro, and she did sail up until 2009. And then as of then, she was classed as a museum ship. Now the original ship was built in 1847. It was built in Quebec in Canada by a Scottish gentleman by the name of Thomas Moon. Shortly after it was built, it was bought by an Irishman. His name was Nicholas Donovan. He was from County Kerry. And the original purpose of this ship was a cargo ship. It was just going to take large supplies, particularly timber, which was worth a lot of money at the time, across the various different ports in Europe. Now, shortly after Nicholas Donovan bought the ship, he realised very quickly that he could actually make a lot more money and profit by using the ship as a passenger ship, as an immigration ship. This is right in the middle of the Great Irish Famine in 1847, so that's when the potato crop completely failed in Ireland, which was a catastrophic disaster, as a vast majority of the Irish population depended on the potato as their sole food source. So once that collapsed, it caused a huge amount of problems. So our population dwindled from 9 million to about 6 million. So about 1 million would have died of hunger and disease, and a further 2 million emigrated to escape the country. And a lot of them would have emigrated on ships like this. The vast majority would have went to North America, either Canada or the US. So that's why today there's a relatively large Irish American and Irish Canadian population, because of the mass immigration that happened from the 1800s going right through to the mid 20th century. Now when people were fleeing into famine, again they would have left on ships like this. It was a pretty tedious and long journey. It took about 6 to 7 weeks to get there, and there was multiple deaths on board every time. So these ships were commonly referred to as the coffin ships, because at least 30% of the passengers would die each time. Now most of the passengers, pretty much all of the passengers, were poor people that were leaving, because it was the famine only affected them directly, because there was only one crop during the famine that failed, and that was the potato crop. But of course, there was a multitude of food available. There was a lot of food in the country. I mean, it was a farming country. There was a lot of wheat, barley, oats that they could have eaten, but they had no access to that food. They were deprived of the food on purpose, because that food was seen as a cash crop. Basically, a lot of profit could be made. So they gathered all those crops and exported them to England to sell them. So the people that really needed them didn't have any access to them. So they had no choice but to leave the country. Now these ships were, the situation of these ships was pretty deplorable. Again, the disease would have been rampant on these ships, and there's no real standard or protocol for them. There was no limit, there was no capacity limit. It was up to the captain. And the problem with that was, when you left it up to the captain, they got greedy. They were making money per passenger, so they were making a huge amount of money, and they were becoming very, very wealthy from it. So naturally, the more people you have on the ship, the more money you're going to make. So they would cram as much as they could. So sometimes up to 250 people would be crammed onto the ship, and then they'd be set off. And this is why there was such a high amount of deaths on board, because most of them were already sick. They were quite weak, coming from pretty desperate situations from their home country, and bringing this on board. The interaction between the crew and the passengers was non-existent. So the crew, for the most part, would separate themselves in these ships. So literally, the passengers were treated like cattle, and they were put into the hull at the bottom of the ship, and for the most part, just left there. And this is where the problem began. Now, the reason why this ship, the Jeanie Johnston, is a special ship is she's the only known famine ship in history that recorded 0 fatalities. So nobody's ever died aboard this ship. The reason for that was because of the captain and the doctor that worked on board. So we're going to learn about them and some of the stories of some of the passengers that actually sailed on the ship downstairs. So I'm going to bring you guys down. Just watch your step around the side there. It's quite a narrow stairway, so just kind of watch your footing.